Today's guests say their partners use the internet, text messaging, and emails to lie and cheat. Kiri says she was betrayed by a cheating ex-fiancé, and she wrote a book about it. It's called Can't Think Straight, a memoir of mixed up love. So Kiri, explain this to me.
Well, one night I was getting ready for bed. We'd been together 10 years. We were just about to get married. And he said he was having some fantasies about people. And we had a long discussion that night. But it was just in my mind, still in the fantasy realm. But it did become clear that he wanted to explore those fantasies and that a relationship would have to end. So I was, absolutely devastated.
So he was basically breaking up with you?
Yes. Well, it became obvious we would have to break up. I mean, he wanted to explore these fantasies. So the next morning he went to work, and I was too upset to go to work. I called in sick, and the computer just called to me like a beacon, just calling to me. I felt that there was more information to be had. And his password just sprang to my mind. He had told me it about 8 years before that. I hadn't even thought about it since then. And it never had a reason.
That's a good memory. 8 years.
Yes. It just bubbled right to the surface of my brain. And I went to the computer, which we shared, and I put in the password to his side of the computer. And I went into his files, and I saw pictures that he had been sending of his face, of his beard, of his private parts. So, yes, pictures of his genitalia. And the first thing I thought, because he had taken it in the bathroom, and I said to him later, who was taking this picture in our bathroom? But it was him. And then, yes, I saw ads that he'd been on Craigslist, and he was having sex with men behind my back.
Were you still, at the time, intimate with him?
Yes. Not extremely frequently, but we had been together over 10 years, and I thought, well, sex life dwindles, that's normal.
But how long in those 10 years would you say he was leading this double life?
He would admit to 2, but I say that's kind of like asking a woman how many men she slept with. You can safely double it. So, but he later on admitted that in his late 20s he began feeling this way, and we had been together since we were 26. So it probably happened fairly early that he began having these feelings. Yeah.
Did he ever tell you the number of partners he had been with?
No, and I should have asked that question. I didn't dare. I'm sure it was more than one.
Explain this to me. How is it this gets funny for you? Because I think most people here are kind of shocked.
Yes.
And you seem to be laughing.
It's hilarious. It's laugh or cry. If you want me to cry, I'll cry too.
In the book you say, this destroyed me. And I think everyone
Yes.
at home understands how this could destroy you.
And I laugh because it's so shocking, but I spent more time crying than probably most human beings have spent crying. Mm-hmm. And if you want, I'll start crying right now too.
No. I get a feeling that you were deeply hurt.
Thank you very much for that.
No, I understand that you were deeply hurt.
So I laugh, I cry. It's the emotions are all over the map. That's all I can say.
I understand that.
And then I went to work, still in shock, a couple days later, and I decided to use the same password to get into his email, which I hadn't done yet. And then I discovered emails between him and another man, which did make it clear that this was more than just hookups, that this was emotional as well. And that really hurt me as much, if not more, to see the tender language that they used with each other, to see the XOXO. That was almost worse.
Did it happen to you again?
Okay. Yeah, so I then began dating another guy, heterosexual, thank you very much, and we had a very sort of a tormented love-hate kind of relationship, because I really wasn't ready for another relationship, and I was probably a real pain in some ways. And he was dating a lot of women, I was dating a lot of men. We developed feelings for each other, and we had a conversation, and we decided that we would be exclusive. And I believed that. So I cut off all my relationships, stopped dating, stopped flirting with people. But after finding a couple of suspicious things in his apartment, like phone numbers, I broke into his email. I'm fairly good at getting into people's email. And yeah, he had been emailing girls. You know, I don't know if it got physical with them after that, but it was still all of the texting, the flirting, the emailing.
So you know what lots of people are thinking right now? I think a lot of my viewers at home are thinking, does she attract this type of thing to herself?
Yeah, it because that's what I was.
No, I'm not saying it's all you. I'm wondering if you realize that you went through this twice.
Well, I think, you know, a lot of people, you know, it's so common. It's so incredibly common. I'm not going to say here that a 24-year-old girl is never going to ever date another man again who's going to, you know, sext behind her back. It's a common thing. But also, I was emotionally traumatized after the relationship with my fiance, and probably acting out in very, you know, self-punishing and self-destructive ways.
I'm wondering how many here in the audience have something to say about all this. Okay, let me see. Anyone over here? Yes.
How hard is it to not look at emails of other guys and look at their phone? Because I know I've done it and I found nothing and then I felt really bad about it. So, like, how do you trust enough to just not go there?
It's very difficult to break out of that habit. See, the problem with sexting and betraying people through technology, there's no way to actually ask someone to stay off all technology. Our jobs are reliant on it for the most part. You can't say to somebody, stay off your computer at work. Don't use a cell phone. Don't use a BlackBerry.
But can you trust someone? Can you move on? Can you have a real relationship again that requires, by the way, that you're not checking the email, that you're not checking the phone, that you're not doing all this? Because trust is important in a relationship.
It was hard to trust in the first place, but now I'll be even more cautious about how I approach a relationship in the future.
Very good. We need to take a break now. But next we're going to meet a man who says if he dates a woman 3 times, she's guaranteed to receive racy photos of him. We'll find out why he does this, and we'll talk to 2 women who were shocked to get them. Don't go away.